We share the same interests and the same values. We face the same challenges, but we are complementary also in defending our democracies. And I think there are three topics which we want to raise today. The first one is indeed security.
Yeah, but I absolutely agree with it. I mean, that's not easy. I mean, things that are reasonable for our people.
These were our conversations to have about us.
Yeah, I imagine it.
O respeito pela tolerância, o respeito pela soberania popular é o que nos move a defender a transparência dos resultados. O compromisso com a paz é que nos leva a conclamar as partes ao diálogo e promover...
I'll have the honour and the privilege of representing Scotland at the funeral of His Holiness Pope Francis. This will be a poignant ceremony, a moment for us all to reflect on the extraordinary service that Pope Francis has given to the Catholic community here in Scotland.
Good morning, everybody. Can I just say also what a tremendous privilege it is to be here today and to see up close and first-hand the incredible work that you're all doing together. Can I just acknowledge Prime Minister Starmer and just say thank you, Keir, for your unwavering support for Ukraine. Thank you for the global leadership role that you are playing.
La Argentina y la República Checa. Y también debo decirle, es una gran satisfacción poder ser el primer presidente argentino que visita la República Checa en 100 años. Vengo a testimoniar el valor y el aprecio por el pueblo checo.
I would like to express my appreciation to the Chancellor for his gracious invitation for me to come and visit Germany. I am very pleased as Germany is a very important partner.
Thank you very much. On a Wednesday, they went and see.
It's called the United States of America, and it's great. And these people know about it better than anybody in this room. But we have a great place, and it should be a lot greater. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it greater than ever before. It's very simple.
В одной области не обходится, но вы должны понимать это, ну, собственно, все понимают, что возможности использования искусственного интеллекта это просто являются колоссальными. И кто...
At the moment, that's pure speculation, and genuinely nobody knows. It's not an evasion of the question. I think all bets are off, and that's partly because the process is genuinely both secret, so it happens in private, but also because the makeup of this College of Cardinals is very different from anyone that's been here to elect a pope before. Huge numbers are from the global south, more so than before, even if they're not yet the majority. And the reality is that they have to form this bond of trust amongst themselves to make that decision. So it's going to be, I think, a surprise conclave, which will be totally unable to be, it's totally unpredictable at this point, but I think will produce potentially a really interesting candidate who possibly none of us all know. I think the length of it is hard to predict. I think the important thing is that the cardinals will be meeting next week, not in conclave, but they'll be meeting with that bigger group of cardinals, including the ones who can't vote. So they're already meeting now to make basic decisions, to advise the Camerlengo, the person who has to run Vatican in the absence of the Pope. So they're already beginning to speak and think together, and then they'll move into a period where they're having to make that decision. So it could be 2 days, it could be fast, as it has been with some recent popes, or it could be a much more protracted process. My sense is that perhaps it might be a little longer than the 2 days, but equally I think that this period of the next week will give them a chance to build the bonds that are necessary to be certain about the decision they're making. I think that he has been the people's pope, but I would say he's been the pope among the people. So the whole point is that image of Francis in the middle of a crowd, not raised up. And I think so much about, even the way he's organising his funeral, is very much about the coffin being lowered to the ground. He wants to be buried very simply, laid in the earth with a very simple inscription. So I think very much what he's done is he's almost tried to bring the papacy down from a pedestal, place it amongst the people in the way that you could imagine Jesus amongst a people. And I think that he's setting for his predecessor an agenda of greater humility, greater simplicity, and a closeness and proximity to people in the woundedness and difficulty and fragility of their own lives. And I think in a sense he's almost cleared a space for his successor to step in and begin to imagine what a papacy that is able to pick up and develop that agenda really looks like, to develop that vision. I also think that he's laid before us a kind of diagnosis of some of the major social issues that we face. He had this really kind of unrivaled ability in terms of a leader on the world stage in our times, to be able to name the meta trends that we're living with, that both affect people very personally, but are clearly the sort of universal themes that we're living with. He's done that on climate change, on migration, on populism. Of course, the last person that he happened to meet in the Vatican formally was J.D. Vance, with whom he's had these extraordinary disagreements. But I think he's told us we're living not in an era of change, but in what he called an era of change of era, And in that regard, I think what he's done is he's set before us a vision. He's left us with that vision, and his successor will have to, in a sense, lead people through that space. And the burden is not just on his successor. Pope Francis's invitation was to every baptised Christian to take seriously their responsibility for mission with the Pope. So the Pope among the people, and the people accompanying and with the Pope. So I think a very different model of papacy for our age. That's a space of deep invitation for his successor, rather than it simply being a sort of overwhelming burden. He's laid the ground. Who will take that forward?